We scaled from 0 to a 7-figure brand in less than 2 years, completely off the back of a product category that we absolutely believe in and love, manufactured by us, at the factory behind of us, and totally self-funded. On the back of that success, we have opened up a multitude of global D2C and B2B distribution networks, including the EU, USA, Australia, and soon to be UAE, Canada, New Zealand, South Africa. And as a founder and an endurance sports enthusiast, the most important thing to me and the entire team through this period of growth is to ensure that all the products that we produce are still to the highest standards that you and I love today. So if you buy a product in Australia, New Zealand, USA, it's the same quality science-backed product that you can buy direct from us in the UK. But all of this has came at a cost and a heavy price, and these are some of the pain points that we are facing today, which are completely real as we continue to build the Styrkr brand into an 8-figure global sports endurance nutrition brand. Issue number 1 is that we are running out of space, and I'm going to show you exactly why. So we manufacture pretty much 100% of the products on site at Gatwick. There's some products that we can't manufacture, but we always do some part of it here, as in blending the base liquid, the base powder, sending it off to a specialist that will finish the product, and then we bring it back and we manufacture it, stuff like gummy sweets, etc. So, but the rest of it we touch here. We also work with a number of different contract manufacturers that we simply just give demand to, because in some instances or some scenarios, we literally can't keep up with demand of certain products like gels and bars. So we manufacture everything out of the facility that I'm about to show you right now. However, we are running out of space, and this is why. So down here, we have got, this is our fulfillment department. This is where they pick and pack all B2B and D2C orders currently. In the ISO 6 labs behind you, we have our liquid and your gel room. We have our automation and finishing room. In there, you've got 4 different fully automated production lines for a array of different types of products, from sachets, gels, to bottles, etc. And then down here is all finished goods. And it looks like they're making boxes and finishing bar 50s. They've got loads of different bombs and materials, making, looks like the D2C bundles, multi-packs, all sorts of stuff going on for all our different channels. Could be US, UK, EU, Australia, or what have I mentioned? I've probably forgot one there. But we've got all materials here. Dave's down here. It's not looking too bad today, Dave. No, it's looking nice and clean. Had a few orders go out. Have we? Yeah. Excellent. So down here, as you can see, is all the Styrkr stock, and down that side is all stock. Dave keeps a really beautiful, clean shop down here, but this is all finished goods. And this is, you know, probably enough. You're probably looking at probably maximum of 2 months worth of stock. It comes in, it goes out that fast. You know, that is, we haven't been able to get ahead of ourselves. And then more stock down that side. So a couple of weeks ago when we were doing, we had a week where we just got blasted. We had the 2 40-foot containers for the States, which was probably in the region of about 40 pallets. We had Indonesia, we had the French order going out, we had, I think it was the Chile order, we had UK orders, and we had the EU orders going out, and it was just mad down here. We literally couldn't move for pallets, so it's all right when once orders have just gone, but generally it does build up, and it just means that the space on the ground is just, you know, non-existent. I'm just looking at the details here. We had that single day, we had 10 pallets going to the EU warehouse. We had 2 40-foot containers going to the USA. We had Indonesia, Taiwan, Australia, France, and New Zealand, all ranging from 5 to 10 pallets going out, right? It was absolutely madness. Dave put his hands up in the air because he absolutely killed it that day. And so did Finn as well. So we are at capacity pretty much here. We operate on 1 to 1.5 shifts on the production, and the same with fulfillment. When demand goes up, fulfillment, demand goes up, etc. But in terms of the space just to organise and prepare stuff, we do need a bit more space. Hence why we are looking at the new warehouse, which is over there You can see on the end, number unit 11. And in 33 minutes time, we're going to get the keys for it. And I'm going to take you over there and I'm going to show you what's in there and what the hell we are going to do with it. So we're changing the room down here, or we've already changed the room down here into our powder production room. It's also got two fully automated 300 litre mixing drums. The middle room is now our liquid prep room for all the gels and liquids that we do. We've got the middle room and then the far room, which is our automated production, which is a mix between sachets, bottles, bottlings, and all sorts of automated production, which you'll probably see down there. And then the main aim for this, the space on the ground, is to open it up so there's just more storage space for actual production. So this part of the building will just become our production suite, which means all raw materials, all packaging materials will be held in this unit. This will give us a larger prep area for materials going into the production suite, and then a larger finishing area for once the finished goods have came out of the ISO 6 lab. They'll get then boxed and palletized and then moved over to the distribution center. This is upstairs, so currently this is the layout of upstairs. We've just put some new office pods in, and we have space for 26 desks up here. However, I think we need to get a couple more in, which will be taking the office space up to about 30 desks, I believe. And we are looking at extending and putting a few other meeting rooms in and potentially another creative space. We could extend it further if we do need more office space. And then the new warehouse, which is going to be Styrkr dedicated center. One second, let me just show you this one. I think this is better. No, not that one, but we'll go with this one. So basically this will be our storage, our fulfillment of finished goods. This will give us another 720 pallet bays, so plenty space to store all the finished goods for our global distribution network. So that'll feed the US, it'll feed the EU, it'll feed Australia, and it'll feed Canada with all the finished products. We make everything on site or within the UK and then ship to all our different distribution centres. It will also have it'll have 6 picking and packing stations. We currently operate on 2 picking and packing stations. We increase when we do have demand, like sale periods, Black Fridays, etc. But essentially we're good up to about 5,000 orders a month with 2 people. We're probably in the region of about 4,500 to 5,000 right now, so we're almost at capacity. So when we build the new capacity in the 6 picking and packing bays, with potentially a semi-automated packing machine, that should take our picking and packing capacity up to about 5,000 a day, which is great because that's what we're trying to build. We're trying to build capacity. And as you can see here, we've also got a content room, which will be a bit of a showroom. It might do where we do make some of our content, where we potentially do a new podcast. And there is a second option, which I'll show you there, because there's also a room already in there, which I'm playing around with the idea of putting a performance lab in there, a bit of a gym slash space for the rest of the workforce. So when we get the keys today at 5 o'clock, I'll show you what I mean, and hopefully, or you guys can maybe help me decide what we do with the space down there. But this is essentially the new plans for the new second warehouse, and this space in total is 5,500 square feet. So that will give us another total operating space of 18,000 square feet. So well needed to help us accommodate this ferocious global growth that we are going through right now. We're just going to go over to the new warehouse. I'll try and visualize what we're going to do with the space where we need stuff. There's some stuff that we need to rip out. We need to then redecorate all the toilets and get it all fit for purpose, put in all the racking, put in the fulfillment, put in the storage, and figure out what we're going to do with the back room, because I want it to be that performance space, but Chrissy wants it to be operational space. So Chrissy's running over there now with a tape measure and go measure up. Chrissy is our head of operations. If you don't know, she's the person that is responsible for making all operations run smoothly, and she does an absolute fucking fantastic job, and we really couldn't do it without her. So she's just run in there with a tape measure ahead of us getting in there. So this will probably be the showroom and the content room. As you can see, it's a decent little space, but we'll deck it all out so it's super mint, all Styrkr branded. It will be where SJ brings all the potential new B2B customers. It will be a space where Rory brings all his athletes and ambassadors, and it can be somewhere that we can generate content, if it be stuff like this or podcast or all that major stuff. But I just want it to be just a really good room that we come and chill in, we come and have meetings in, and just a really good space. And then that will lead outside. We were initially thinking about ripping that room out and just opening it right up, just so it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 5 large-scale floor-to-ceiling racking, which will give us probably about 720 pallet bays, I believe I counted it at. Or, as you can hear Chrissy, is potentially keep it there, reduce the pallet bays down to probably about 600, I think it is, and then potentially use that space as either a performance lab / gym, because I'm really keen for that, or Chrissy is saying she might need it for production, so we'll see. We've still got to discuss that. So essentially, goods out, pallet racking. This room over here is going to be completely removed, and probably from here will be our fulfillment, and this will be our sort of global fulfillment for B2B and D2C. This will have 6 different pick and pack stations. That means you'll have 6 different pickers going around that are picking all everyone's orders. You'll have 6 packers that are packing it, and you'll probably have 2 or 3 replenishment staff that are constantly replenishing the stock. And then that will give us capacity to scale. I think it's about 4,500 orders a day if we were to run 24 hours a day. Obviously, we won't need to do that right now, but it gives us capacity to grow in, it gives us loads of space, and these will literally be pick and pack, amazing fulfillment center, amazing storage and distribution side of it. And going into here, where Chrissy's got a tape measure out, is, oh yes, I do like it as the performance lab. Imagine this in here, rollers, running machines, all the different testing we could do, essentially, you know, climate lab, all that sort of stuff if we actually need to do that. And it's somewhere that we can come and really push the boundaries, especially with the likes of the people that we're bringing on in the sports science and sports nutrition space. So it could be an amazing space for that if we can justify the requirements right now. Or, like Chris is measuring up, it could be an amazing space just to do further production. I actually think it would make a really good additional bar manufacturing space, because we don't bake the bars. They're mixed, they're pressed, they're cooled, they're chopped, and then they're floor wrapped. So we could probably put bar production in here. It all depends who wins the fun war. Issue 2 is scaling our UK production and our stock management. So in 23 going into 24, no, tell a lie, in 23 to 24, we looked at the demand plan for the whole of 2024, and we came to the conclusion, based on the previous year growth, that we would need a 60% uplift in stock. So we planned the whole year's production and stock management on 60% uplift. By March, we had blown that demand plan completely out the water. It was more like 172% or something uplift or growth that we saw in them first 3 months. So what that done is absolutely blasted our reserves, our supply chain, our production. It just put huge pressure on everything. Yes, we managed to cope with it because all we had to do was manufacture more, faster, bring ordered materials in sooner, and close that gap from March of expecting to only need 60% uplift to having 172% uplift. So what we need to do is bring all the materials forward and manufacture faster. We managed it, and we're still here. As you can see, we're holding decent stock right now. However, it puts so much stress across the entire operations team, so we do not want to do that again for 2025. So we've looked at 2025, and based on what we've sold to date in 2024, we've made our stock and demand plan predictions. It's gone from last year, which was 60%, but really saw 172%. So what we're doing is using that 172% growth and then recalculating another 200% uplift on top of that. And the idea this year is where we've always operated on a just-in-time model, where we manufacture the stock just in time for it to go out the door, because we're feeding all these different channels now. UK distribution, B2C, B2B, D2C, US D2C and B2B, EU D2C and B2B, Australia, both channels, New Zealand, South Africa, Canada. There's a whole different ball game in place. So what we need to do is operate on a 6-month stock holding, where we have 3 months buffer stock, which is what we replenish through manufacturing. So we only replenish the buffer stock, and then we have 3 months worth of operational stock for all the different channels that I've just mentioned then, and all the other new channels that we're probably about to add. Which means we operate on the operational stock that feeds all the different sales channels. We then replenish the operational stock from the buffer stock, and then we replenish the buffer stock with everything that we're going to manufacture. However, that comes at a fucking huge cost and massive risk value. So we're used to operating on round about 500 to 600 grand's worth of stock holding. So all this costs money that we've got to build, right? We've always operated around about 500-600 grand. Now we're operating on the current model of around about 800 to 900 grand's worth of stock, and in the new model, which we need to have ready for January 2025, there's an extra just shy of £2 million worth of stock holding, and that's to create the 6 months free buffer and operational stock model that we need to do to expand and accommodate all this growth that we're seeing across the globe into all these different sales channels. And that comes at huge operational risks, huge financial investment, and a huge operational undertaking to make sure the quality of everything that we're producing along every different production line is as we expect and is top notch. We have got to invest that cash, we have got to build and store that stock, hence why the new warehouse is needed, and everything else that goes along with it. We've just got to keep up with that growth that we're seeing, that demand for the growth. So scaling production on the back of that global demand is also another operational challenge. So we have got stock and demand plan, we've got space, now we've suddenly got upscaling our production. And as I'm about to show you now, we're going to go and check out our new powder and sachet production suite that we've just installed about 6 weeks ago. That has three fully automated production lines and 2 high-scale, high shear and bulk blend powder mixers. So I'll go and show you that now. We've also got our gel production, which we're going to go and check out. This is where we can really scale our gel products, our gel 50s, our gel 30s, and we've got our bar productions. The bar productions are split over 3 different sites to keep up with demand, and the gels over 2 different sites, and all the single-serve sachets are now done in-house. And the next phase of our growth going into 26 and 27 will be look at bringing in X amount of new production capabilities to then continue our global growth across the years to come. Right, so this door is going to get closed off eventually. Fire escapes are that way. So in here we have our 2 single-serve sachet machines. This is a 5-lane that runs between 280 and 320 a minute. That'll do 5 single-serve sachets of the size at a time, from 20 mil to 30 mil, I believe that one is. And then this is our new single-serve machine, which is an absolute gem. This allows us to go from 25 mil up to, it's in my head before, I think 150 mil wide. So it's multi-diverse, multi-width, and we can do from essentially 2 gram right up to probably 100 gram, I would say, on that. It is a little bit slower than that machine, depending on the size of the sachet. Lowest it'll do and the widest is, I think, 28 a minute, and it goes up to something like 77 or 80 a minute on the smaller ones, but super versatile machine, and it will allow us to do loads of stuff in-house, which essentially is our new salt products, our new drink products, and potentially our new pre-workout products, all sorts of potential new things. So we've always had this machine. It just takes a little bit longer to set up. It's just we've had this new addition in recently. This one's been great. As I said, it'll do anywhere, this will go up to 40 mil. So it does anything from 20 mil, 25 mil, 30 mil, 35 mil, and 40 mil. So bigger, larger production runs will use this machine because it's more, it's faster, more efficient. and smaller, more bespoke machine runs will use that machine. And this is one of 2 of our 300-litre powder blenders. This will blend all the raw materials. So if there's, say, electrolytes, for example, we'll put all the different ingredients in there, the magnesium, the sodium, the calcium, the potassium, and then blend it all in there. That will then disperse into big sacks or big barrels, and then that will move to one of the production lines for filling and then onto finishing. So yeah, we just put this brand new room in because this was in one of the labs, but alongside our accreditation, our HACCPs, we needed to separate powder production and liquid production, and we now have a fully operational, fully automated powder production suite, which is fantastic. Issue number 3, building the right A-team and systems for our growth. So people and building the right team is essential. We need to bring amazing people into this company. I've always built the model on trying to build a professional sports team or an A-team where we have just absolute rock stars in every position that are all fighting together for the greater good of the team. So marketing builds the global demand. Sales, B2B and D2C, sells that global demand, and operations fulfills that global demand. So that's the 3 functions, but everywhere in between all these different functions that we've got to build the right systems, the right processes for these teams to integrate and perform at their best, to communicate and just to grow, right? And we've also got to think about all the systems that are needed for the distribution, the D2C channels, the logistics, the just global distribution. It is massive undertaking, and we started changing the accountability structure last year. We implemented a new operational system 2 years ago, which is called EOS, which is absolutely fantastic, and we've seen massive, great strides forward. However, last quarter, we had to do a tactical change of the overall accountability structure. Leon had to look after operations, I had to look after sales and marketing. And then from there, we've had to refine all the teams, from essentially the main teams now are brand marketing, D2C, B2B, creative and operations. And they're the 5 key functions of the business. And it's how we grow them people out and them teams out to then accommodate for this global distribution and global expansion and growth. So that is issue number 3. Issue number 4, which is about finance and growth. It's as simple as that. So, as I mentioned at the start, we are completely self-funded, a debt-free company, and over the last 10 years, we've built a company that's allowed us to grow Styrkr, right? That has been built it up from the ground up with 0 investment, apart from £500 each that me and my business partner put in back in January 2013, right? We have then reinvested everything that we've earned in that 10 years back into the company to get to where we are today. But what we're facing now is a completely different ballgame. It's a completely different risk. It's a completely different set of financials attached to growing a global brand like we're doing here. And it comes at a huge risk and huge cost, essentially. But we believe in our product, we believe in our brand, and we believe in our people to get us to that next stage, right? So we're going to lean into that growth, and we're going to lean into doing what we've set out to do. And why we're doing it, essentially why we're doing it in the first place. So think of it this way. We have achieved 0 to 7 figures in 2.5 years, right? And that is not overall revenue or ARR. This is just annual sales figures, right? So what we're doing in this financial year. But as we grow and continue to see month-on-month growth, B2B, for example, from 23 to 24 was about 4,000% growth, right, on the B2B front. That is fantastic. And that's been stable around about 800% growth quarter on quarter, right? It's been phenomenal. So as we grow, same with D2C and B2B, the cost of operating that growth also goes. So imagine if we had a turn down in sales and the cost keeps on growing, we would be pretty much underwater essentially. But luckily for us, we've continued to grow and we've continued to keep that baseline of costs not quite parallel, so it's still rising, but eventually, so you probably want to be able to see that. So essentially, as you grow, you've got to find more money. Does the profit that we do, can we reinvest that back into the brand to sustain the 200% growth that we're expecting for next year? Yes, it can. Ideally, I think we'd like to be more around 300 to 400% growth. That you probably won't, because we're not thinking just about stock. We're thinking about infrastructure, new warehouses, new operational teams, materials, packaging, all that sort of stuff to keep it going. We're also thinking about cost on the admin team, the marketing team, the sales teams, the financial team, the infrastructure that's needed to build this company. And then we're also thinking of costs to grow them individual sales channels or their markets. Launching in America, for example, will be a huge cost, right? We've got to get the athletes on board, we've got to do the prepared performance, we've got to do all the organic. So it's doing what we've done in the UK, times it by each department. So we've just got to keep a very keen eye to make sure that we don't spend everything we earn before we've got more cash coming in. So it's a very tricky and huge risk, but we're in a very good position right now. Cash flow is good, we're generating really good growth, and we're working round the clock to make sure our operational demands are in line with their needs. Investment isn't out of the question. I think right now, probably more, if we were to look at it, could be a crowd fund, a crowd seed, or a crowd raise, a crowd fund raise. Could be seed investment, could be equity investment. I think you're looking probably around about 2027 when we'll really need that, when we step up into a new facility and we get more production and we've got a bigger demand plan to feed. So it's not the question, but we've always got to put what the brand needs and the quality of the products and the importance of our customers before anything else. So if we find a partner that aligns with them, if we have a need for that, then we will. But we've got this far without it, and I'm pretty confident that we probably will be able to do this self-funded. And I'm excited about the thought of that, and I'm excited about what the future brings. So what would you do next? Please leave your comments in below. You've seen some of our key pain points. These go down into much granular detail, which I will explore over the course of the next months and weeks, months and years. But yeah, let me know what you would do. If you've got any experience in scaling a brand like this, I would love to hear from you. I would love to chat with you, and I'd love to talk to you. Leave the comments down below. And that's me out. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.